Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, Senator Charles Sumner from Massachusetts, and I would like to address a very important situation to you. After joining the Free Soil Party and moving to the Republican Party, I think it is rather important that we discuss the issue that is near and dear to my heart. Take down your map, sir, and you will find that the territory of Kansas, more than any other region, occupies the middle spot of North America, equally distanced from the Atlantic on the east and the Pacific on the west, from the frozen water of Hudson Bay on the north and the tepid Gulf Stream on the south, constituting the precise territorial center of the whole vast continent. To such advantages of situation on the very highway between two oceans are added a soil of unsurpassed richness and a fascinating, undaunted beauty of surface, with a health-giving climate calculated to nurture a powerful and generous people, worthy to be a central pivot of American institutions. But the wickedness which I now begin to expose is immeasurably aggravated by the motive which prompted it. Not in any common lust or power did the uncommon tragedy have its origin. It is the rape of a virgin territory, compelling it to the hateful embrace of slavery, and it may be clearly traced to a depraved longing for a new slave state, the hideous offspring of such a crime, in the hope of adding to the power of slavery in the national government. Yes, sir, when the whole world alike, Christian and Turk, is rising up to condemn this wrong and to make it a hissing to the nations, here in our republic force has been openly employed in compelling Kansas to the pollution of slavery, all for the sake of political power. There is a simple fact which you will vainly attempt to deny, but which in itself presents an essential wickedness that makes other public crimes seem like public virtues. But this enormity, vast beyond comprehension, swells to dimensions of wickedness, which the imagination toils in vain to grasp, which is understood that for this purpose are hazarded the horrors of intestine feud, not only in this distant territory, but everywhere throughout the country. Already the muster has begun. The strife is no longer local, but national. Even now, while I speak, portents hang on all the arches of the horizon, threatening to darken the broadened land, which already yawns with the musterings of civil war. The fury of propagandists of slavery and the calm determinations of their opponents are now diffused from the distant territory over widespread communities. And the whole country, in all its extent, marshaling hostile divisions and foreshadowing a strife, which unless happily averted by the triumph of freedom, will become war. But before entering upon this agreement, I must say something of a general character, particularly in response to what has fallen from senators who have raised themselves to eminence on this floor in championship of human wrongs. I mean the senator from South Carolina, Mr. Butler, and the senator from Illinois, Mr. Douglas, who, though unlike Don Quixote and Sancho Panza, yet, like this couple, sally forth together in the same cause. The senator from South Carolina has read many books of chivalry, and believes himself a chivalrous knight with sentiments of honor and courage. Of course he has chosen a mistress, to whom he has made his vows, and who, though ugly to others, is always lovely to him. Though polluted in sight of the world, is chaste in his sight. I mean the harlot slavery. For her his tongue is always profuse in words. Let her be impeached in character. For any proposition made to shut her out from extension of her wantonness, and no extravaganza of manner or hardihood of assertion is then too great for the senator. The frenzy of Don Quixote on behalf of this wench, Delinche del Toboso, is all surpassed. The asserted rights of slavery, which shook equality of all kinds, are cloaked by a fantastic claim of equality. If the slave states cannot enjoy what, in mockery of the great fathers of the Republic, he misnames equality under the Constitution, in other words, the full power of the national territories to compel fellow men to toil, to separate husband and wife, to sell little children at the auction block. Then, sir, the chivalrous senator who will conduct the state of South Carolina out of the Union, heroic knight, exalted senator, a second Moses, come for a second Exodus. but not content with this poor menace, which we have been twice told was measured. The senator, the unrestrained chivalry of his nature, has undertaken to apply opprobrious words to those who differ from him on this floor. He calls them sectional and fanatical. And the opposition to this usurpation in Kansas, he denounces an uncalculating fanaticism. To be sure, these charges lack all grace of originality, all sentiment of truth, but the adventurous senator does not hesitate. He is the uncompromising, unblushing representative on this floor of a flagrant sectionalism, which now domineers the Republic, and yet with a ludicrous ignorance of his position, unable to see himself as others see him, or with a effrontery which, seeing his white head, ought not protect from rebuke, he applies to those here who resist his sectionalism, the very epithet which designates himself, the men who strive to bring back the government to its original policy when freedom and not slavery was national. He arraigns as sectional. This will not do. It involves too great a perversion of terms. I tell that senator that it is to himself and to the organization of which he is committed that this epithet belongs. I now fasten it upon himself. For myself, I care little for names. But now the question has been raised here. I affirm that the Republican Party of the Union is in no sense sectional, but more than any other party, national. And that it now goes forth to dislodge from the high places of the government the tyrannical sectionalism of which Senator from South Carolina is one of the maddest zealots. Pause break. How dare you, sir, insult my uncle? Yeah, my uncle, Senator Butler from South Carolina, who is not here to defend himself. I, sir, am Congressman Brooks, and you've libeled my state and slandered my white-haired old relative, and I've come to punish you for it. You will never attack my state. You will never attack my family. And sir, I wish you death.